Poor people should not have kids. I'm 100% agree.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we'll be talking about don't have kids when you're poor. Now, before you react emotionally, I want you to really hear the message from a place of love, truth, and responsibility, because this is not about shaming anyone. It's about protecting future children, helping struggling parents, and breaking generation cycles. So I've put the stitches together so that you watch. I'll be back to share my true sense.
Poor people should not have kids. I'm 100% agree on this statement. And personally, I think if you are poor, like really poor, you cannot even afford your own life, and then if you decide to have kids, it's child abuse. It's irresponsible. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Kids need more than just love. I keep hearing a lot of people say, oh, I'm poor, but I love my children. Yes, because love is all you have. You have nothing. You have no money. Besides love your own children, what else can you offer? But you know what? Love cannot buy bread. Love cannot buy medicine if your child is sick. Love cannot put a roof on top of your children. Love is not money. You need money to raise child. When I decide to get diamond, I make sure that I'm fully prepared. I have a full-time job with a 70,000 annual salary, an apartment which I can afford, a year's emergency fund in my high-yield saving account, a car. I make sure that I can take care of diamond financially. And he's just a cat. Compared to children, the cat is much more low maintenance. I always want to have a cat, but I did not choose to have a cat during college, during graduate school, during internship, because I don't have a stable income back then. I decided to have a cat after I have a full-time job and an emergency fund. And that's the bare minimum for me to getting a cat. If you decide to have children, that should be the bare minimum for you as well. The stability that you can guarantee for your children. Yes, I know. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? You want to go? You want to go? Want to go or continue? Okay, continue. And you know what's funny is? A lot of the poor people like to emphasize that they love their children. Like rich people or people have money don't love their children. Rich people love their children too. Then just don't emphasize it. Because they can offer their children much more than just love. They can give them better opportunity, better education, because they don't have money. But love is the only thing that poor people have, which simply cannot do anything. Because as far as I know, love is not a currency. You cannot buy food, shelter, what?
It's been said before, but I'm gonna say it again. Stop having children. Don't have children if you do not have the financial means. If you can't even afford yourself in this economy, don't have children, okay? The thing is, I'm not talking about moms or women who become moms and then they work their ass off and they're able to afford their kids and they make that bag. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the women who deliberately make it known that they don't have enough money and yet they still have kids. For instance, there's a girl that I know, we used to be really close. She had a baby, and before that, sometimes I would pay for her and stuff when we would go out, which I don't have a problem with. I get it. We all struggle. But when you add a baby to the mix, that's different. You should be hustling. You should be working for that. You know what I mean? You should be working for your child. She asked me to borrow money, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but now it's the 4th time. And I'm just like, I don't get it. The first time she asked me to borrow $20 and she's like, oh, I'll run to the bank tomorrow and I'll give it to you then. I'm just like, you can run to the bank today. I don't get it. So I don't know. I had a weird gut feeling and I was like, okay, no, I just came up with something. The 3rd time she asked me to borrow, I think $45 for something. And I was just like, no, it was the same excuse, but I kind of made something up. And I get it. We all struggle. I just have this thing too where it's like, if I have a gut feeling that something's off, then I'm not going to do it. Anyways, the 3rd time was crazy. The audacity was crazy. She invited me to her birthday where she got a table at a club, okay? All 10 of us that she invited had to pitch in for the table, which I was down with. I was fine, whatever. I ended up not being able to go because it was super snowy and it was all the way in the city. I'm not going to drive all the way to the city in the snow. A lot of people ended up canceling on her. This girl had the audacity to ask me, a person that did not go to her event, if I could pay $250 since a lot of people didn't show up. Huh? I don't know if she asked me that because she knows that I have a big girl job. I don't know what the case is, but you expecting me to pay $250 for something that I didn't show up to while you have a child at home. So if you can't even afford the table at the club, why are you getting it? If you can't even afford that when you have a baby at home, why are you getting that? Anyways, I was livid. I was gonna write her this whole paragraph, but then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut it off and just no. So I received a text from her today asking if she could borrow $20. She's 16 months, I think. She's 16 months pregnant on her second kid. Stop having kids if you can't afford them. That goes for every person who's purposely having children. Okay, thank you. Bye.
If you are living in poverty on the struggle bus, trucking it on that choo-choo struggle train every day, don't have kids. Don't have kids, okay? Because they're probably going to end up in prison, and I can say that because I was there and I saw what happens and who's there. Why on God's earth would you willingly bring a child into misery just to ride the struggle bus with you? Like, that is crazy to me. Y'all are selfish as hell. I saw it in prison. I saw the results of couples and women in poverty going out there and popping out all these kiddos. And I saw your kiddos in prison because I was in there with them. And when we got out, I was able to make a life for myself as to where they went back to prison. And it's because you decided to have them and give them shit for a chance. It's very likely that if you grew up in poverty, your parents grew up in poverty as well and had you in poverty. And it's just a generational ass curse that's going to continue on and on and on until somebody's smart enough to break it. If you think that you having your child in poverty and saying, oh, well, but I'm going to love them and that's going to be enough, it's not, okay? Love does not equal opportunities. Love does not equal food on the table, a good education, and a good core friend group is going to influence the hell out of them. No, love does not do that. Love may give them a warm, safe, fuzzy feeling when they're in the house for the moments that they're around you. But all those other hours of the day, baby, the area you live in, the school they go to, their core group of friends, all that is going to determine and dictate and influence their decision making and their path. So if you want the trajectory of their life to be straight struggle bus, then keep on having children in poverty. Okay? I stand on what I said. Do better. So again, if you're living in poverty, you should.
Knowingly having kids when you live in poverty, knowing that they will also be impoverished, is a form of abuse. When did we all become so afraid of being politically correct that we can't admit when things are right in our face? Yes, in the United States, we hate poor people. It's so much more expensive to be poor in this country. It's also very expensive to be single without kids in this country. But saying someone hates poor people because someone decides to have 6 kids in a 1-bedroom home so much that they have to sleep in the kitchen, that's not hating poor people. That's looking at the facts. It's abusive. My best friend grew up impoverished, poor, in the middle of Michigan. And we have this conversation all the time. She is so triggered from her past of being poor. I have to convince her to do small things. I have to convince her to spend money on like a new tire. I have to convince her to spend money on herself. One time she called me because she was going on a trip and she needed something. I can't remember what it was, but it was only $20. And she's like, I can't spend that money. Mind you, my best friend has worked consistently for 10 years. She is a top director at her job. She makes a good, consistent income and she has no overhead. She doesn't have kids and she's not married. But the trauma of being poor makes her second guess everything she buys because she's afraid of being poor again. She talks about how they didn't have money in the house and they didn't know where the food was going to come from. And the stress of living with that, with seeing her mother struggle and then therefore it trickling down on her till this day causes her anxiety. Like she just texted me to say, oh, I booked a trip to Florida and I didn't even think about it and I'm going to stay there. And I was like, good for you. And when I tell you that's something she didn't have during her childhood, she's literally healing her inner child. We are nothing but children cosplaying as adults. Everything we do in our adulthood goes back to our childhood. So knowingly bringing a child into that kind of environment means you're not even thinking about them as a kid, but you're not even thinking about them in the future as an adult. I'm going to go more in depth in this on my YouTube page, but let's all just face the facts. It is a form of abuse to bring a child knowingly into poverty just because you wanted children.
I'm not one of those Christian women that will bring kids into poverty because I have faith that God will provide. I'm not one of those Christian women. I'm not going to knowingly birth kids in this economy, especially when I'm not doing anything to support myself. Then I'll birth kids so that they'll suffer. Do you know how I suffered as a child growing up because of poverty? Why would I do that to my children? I'm not doing it because God will provide. Yes, God provided, but they chased me out of school so many times. Yes, God provided, but I had to wait so long to replace my shoes. Yes, God provided, and He did. He showed up so many times, but I suffered. And there are so many wounds I have because of poverty ingrained in my soul that I still have to go to therapy and decompress. I'm not going to put my kids through that. If I cannot give my children a life that was at least 20, even if it's 30% better than mine, I'm not having children yet. I'm sorry. You can't.
You want to see wages go up? Tell them you're not going to have kids unless they raise the wages. Let them know that if we can't afford childcare or the cost to have a baby, ain't gonna be none popping. Who needs abortion when we have a plan? And that plan should be to not open your legs to someone who's not rich. I guarantee you those wages will go up so damn fast when they see that women are dead ass serious about not getting pregnant unless they can pay those bills. Baby, you will see heads turn. They saw that new birth rate that just dropped and it went down again. The average age of an American is 39 years old, sis. The average age of an African is 29 years old, sis. And the average household in America is 2.1. And the average household size in Africa is 4.5 to 6 people per house. And on top of raising those wages, you need to make childcare free, healthcare free. Yeah, because the sheer amount of debt that you go in just to have that baby is insane. My friend just had a baby at work and she only got 6 weeks off of work. 6 weeks. That's unacceptable. So if they want to make you have some babies, make them pay for it.
No, I do not believe poor people should have kids. And I think it's weird that the first thing you think of is, but the labor force. Like, not about these children's livelihoods, their quality of life. None of that matters. The labor force. Let me make it clear. We cannot change what our parents did and our parents' parents did. So I'm not criticizing that so we can go back and try and change things, because that's impossible. What I'm talking about is going forward. And yes, going forward, why would you have kids if you cannot take care of them? Why would you have kids so that they have to struggle to get by or live a certain quality of life? And please don't think I'm just talking about finances and economics. Mental health. When you grow up in certain levels of poverty or the absence of love because you just did things for the culture, that child suffers. Their mental health suffers. My simple point that somehow people just, I think, behave in an obtuse manner, so they just refuse to understand what I'm saying, even though it's pretty clear, is let us do better. Let us marry better partners. Everybody takes accountability, men and women, and raise children, and not just back out because, 15 years later or 5 years later, because, the love, it doesn't feel the same. People are divorcing for no reason nowadays. People are divorcing because they didn't pick the good partner in the first place. People are divorcing because of selfish reasons. Once you have kids, I'm sorry, that man should only be abusive, or that woman should only be abusive for you to be leaving. Raise your kids, take care of them. Like, this is what I'm advocating for. I'm not advocating for anything else. It's just doing right. And it's funny because this comment section, it shows the divide between the people who are going to be good parents and take accountability and raise beautiful children versus the people who are going to keep those cycles of trauma, abuse, poor mental health, poor quality of life.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm going to say it. Stop getting pregnant in low-income housing. You've already had 2 babies there. Why do you keep having more there? You clearly cannot even afford to live on your own outside of a voucher from the government. Stop having children. Go to school, go get your education, go get a trade, go start a business. Stop having children. Nobody's going to tell you. Your family's just going to watch you drown. Stop having children. You already have enough. And you have...
That's a video, guys. I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what you think about today's video. Having a child is not just a natural step in life, it's a lifetime responsibility. It's not just about giving birth, it's about being emotionally, mentally, and financially prepared to raise a child in a stable environment. When you're poor, struggling to feed yourself, bouncing from job to job, or relying on others to survive, bringing a child into this situation is not just risky, it's unfair to the child, to you, and sometimes to the society. I understand that life doesn't always go according to the plan. Accident happen, relationship break, jobs are lost. But what I'm talking about today is a decision to bring a child into the world where, when you know deep down you're not ready. We live in a world that constantly pressures people to keep up, settle down, and have babies and follow a timeline that might not work for everyone, especially in communities where poverty is normalized or where the lack of education or productivity, health, and long term planning. Let's take a moment to think about what is really a cost to raise a child. Not just money for diapers and baby formula. I mean school fees, clothes, medicine, healthy food, daycare, transportation, a safe home, emotional presence, time and energy, mental equality. When you're poor, even one of those things can feel like a mountain. Now imagine trying to provide all of them consistently for 18 years or more. That's not just hard, that's exhausting. And it takes a toll on your mental health, your relationship, and eventually on the child equity of life, quality of life. And here's the part of people don't talk about. Children know when they're not wanted, when they're a burden, when their parents are stressed out all the time, when they're growing up in chaos, not care. They grow up learning survival, not joy. They grow up with trauma, not security, and often they repeat the same cycle. They become young adults who always feel pressure to have children they can't afford emotionally or financially. Now, some people will say, but poor people love their kids. Of course, they do. Love is powerful, but love is not enough. You can love your child with your whole soul and still not be able to provide a warm bed, a hot meal, or a safe future. It's not just about intentions, it's about capacity. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to wait until you're truly ready to have one. I'm not telling anyone to be rich. I'm saying be prepared. Plan. Ask yourself the hard questions. Can I afford a child right now? Can I raise them in a safe environment? Will I be able to give them the emotional and financial support they need to thrive, not just survive, but thrive? Let's also talk about the pressure from family and culture. So many women, especially in certain communities, are pressured into motherhood early, sometimes before they even finish school or start a stable career. It's breaking. Okay, it's so heartbreaking because no one tells them that the same people pushing them to have kids often disappear when it's time to babysit, buy diapers, or pay the bills. You are left alone, overworked and overwhelmed, and the society blames you when your child struggles or you can't cope. We need to normalize waiting. We need normalize planning. We need to normalize saying I'm not ready to be a parent. This is not selfish, this is smart, because kids deserve more than just being born. They deserve presence, protection, provision, and peace. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have kids, but I'm saying we should have kids when we are ready. Okay, so myself, I'm child free by choice. I chose not to have kids because I know myself, because I'm not ready. Okay, I'm a good aunt, but I can't be a very uh I'm a good auntie, but I can't be a very good parent. You get my point. I'm not ready to raise someone. Okay, I don't have this time because, oh my god, I choose to to live my own way. Yeah, I live my own way and I live according to my own terms because I have these ambitions where I want to travel, I want to do all these things for myself because I want to take care of myself. I don't want to take care of another person, and I don't want to bring a child where they feel like I'm not there enough for them and all this. Because when I have a child, if I have a child, I can want to have a proper attention on the child. Like I don't want some people to raise a child and all these things. So for me, I feel like all those things I'm not ready to do that, and I feel like I've made my decisions to not have kids. And me and my partner, I think we've talked about all these things. It's not like I don't have kids, I can actually have one. Okay, this is what I'm saying. So I just chose to be child free because again of childhood traumas and all these things, because we were raising our siblings, and I saw how tough it is and all these things. So I'm not ready to do that. Yeah, but don't match me. Yeah, so only have kids when you're ready. Don't have kids because other people are having kids, or you want to keep up on the trends of having kids. A kid is a life form, and you need to take care of it. Once you have someone, you have a kid, she is your responsibility. You have to take care of her. She's going to be your first priority. If you want to buy clothes, you say no, I want to buy for me first, I buy for my kids, and you be second, number two. This is what I don't want. I don't want to be number two always. Okay, but always have kids. Kids are good. You always need to have kids when you're ready, but don't bring kids into a poverty where some people will be traumatized. You just bring an innocent kid into chaos, which is not great. So make sure you work hard and you have all these things so that you're able to raise someone, not just to make them suffer in this world. So I'll put the videos together so that you watch. Okay, so I think you've learned something from the video. So if you learned something from the videos, kindly leave comments for me. Leave comments and let's interact in the comment section. I appreciate for your coming. See you in my next episodes. Bye.